Hey there, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new around here, well, my name is Mac and I'm a leadership and team building coach, but I work specifically with first-time team managers. So I'm really excited about today's video because it's going to be a little bit different as I'm going to be walking you through how you can create a personal leadership development plan. Now, if you've been with me for some time, then I'm pretty sure you've noticed that I've moved. I mean, I know I haven't addressed that on the channel at all. Like, I haven't said, hey guys, I'm moving. But I'm pretty sure that you can tell from this background and this background that I've moved within the last couple of months, right? They're completely different. And you know how it is when you move, right? You find all sorts of things all over the place in nooks and crannies. And I think actually in this video right here, I mentioned that I had found a couple of my journals from back in the day when I first became a manager, as well as some of my planners. But the other thing I found that was pretty cool, I think anyways, was a stack, literally a stack of my personal leadership development plans from back in the day. You see, about 6 or 7 months in, yeah, I think it was like 6 or 7 months into my role as a newly promoted manager, I really realized that the problems that were, happening within my team were basically as a result of me. Essentially, I realized that I was the problem. And, I really wanted to change things. And so I really invested in myself and developing my skills. And one of the things that I did at that time was I went to a 2-day leadership conference. And it was actually at that conference that I learned about the importance of creating a personal leadership development plan. Now, as leaders, we want to be constantly improving ourselves because otherwise it's really easy for us to fall into the trap of believing that we're good at where we're at and that everybody else is the issue, because that's a fallacy. The truth is that we can always improve in some way. And if we honestly believe that we're good at where we're at and that everybody else is the issue, then that's just our ego speaking. And whenever the ego is making decisions on our behalf or whatnot, that's dangerous and we can cause more damage than good. Now, I know that sounds harsh, but it is the truth, because here's what it is. Being in a leadership position is very serious. We've been given a very, hefty responsibility that has to do with people's lives. This is people's lives we're dealing with. And so if we don't take the time to improve ourselves, then what we're saying is that we don't value the responsibility that we've been given and we don't value people's lives. And I think there's a lot of managers that operate that way. A lot of managers who just take positions for the pay increase or the title, but they can give a rat's ass about people's lives. And that's why we see a lot of toxicity in the workplace. In fact, Gallup just came out with another study. Man, it was crazy, talking about how we have a lot of managers, or talking about how the Great Resignation is really just the great discontent and that it stems back to poor management practices. I'm going to link to that article in the description box below because it was really eye-opening. Like it's really sad. So that's why I'm saying, like, we want to take the responsibility seriously and try to improve ourselves as much as possible. Now, I know for you watching that this is not the case for you, because obviously you're subscribed to the channel and you're trying to, figure out how to do this thing otherwise known as people management, and you're trying to glean as much information as you can. But the trap for, us is that it's very easy to get complacent. Very easy to get complacent where you're feeling like, okay, I've learned this and I'm good. That's also just as dangerous, because that means that we're not moving forward. And, what do they say? Like, if you're not moving forward, then you're staying the same or actually getting worse. So complacency is also an issue, which is why creating a personal leadership development plan is so important, because what it does is it commits you to making improvements in the area in which you need to improve. So that's why we're going to take the time and do this together today. I'm going to share with you bits and pieces of mine, or at least, like, let's say the outline itself, so that you can create one. And at the end of the video, I'll share like the one-page template with you so that you can create your own and, just print it out and use it every quarter. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first part of the plan should have who you aspire to be as a leader. So for me, I tend to think in reverse order, meaning like when I'm planning anything out, I like to think of the outcome and then reverse engineer from there. And so when I created my own personal leadership development plan, I did that first. I started out with describing exactly the type of leader that I wanted to be. And so for you, I want to encourage you to do the same. Now, I would share mine with you, but I am afraid that I might sway you in sharing kind of what I wrote. and I want it to be based off of you. So if you've never thought of this before, like if you haven't really sat down and really thought about, what type of manager do I want to be? Or if you're having troubles articulating it, then as a suggestion, what you can do is just think back to maybe like one of the best managers you had, or a couple of really great managers, or maybe like a coach or something that you had in the past that was super awesome, and just think about what it was about them that you really liked, that you would like to emulate in your own leadership. And if you're still having troubles, then I suggest going to this video right here. It's an older video of mine where I talked about like different leadership styles, but I think maybe going through that video will really help you just like get the juices flowing so that you can have something clearly stated at the very top. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, you're not sharing this with anybody. It's just so that you have a good idea of like who you're striving to be. The second piece is to just determine the specific competencies that you need to improve on in order to be the type of leader that you want to be. Now, I'm going to do a separate video, I think, on this in terms of breaking down the different skill sets that a truly effective manager needs to have. But for the sake of this like one-page template here, I've listed out a couple, so about 10 that I think are really important. So you'll see here that I have the ability to cast a compelling vision. I have emotional intelligence, super important. Number 3, communication skills. Number 4, the ability to provide timely and effective feedback. You need to be a great team builder. You need to be able to strategically plan. You have to be able to, conflict resolution is another important one. I've got here process and policy knowledge, and then being able to improve the processes and policies. You need to be a critical thinker. And of course, I'm always talking about this, you have to be able to set clear expectations and then hold the team accountable. So these are all competencies, I would say, of a truly effective leader. I would say this is what takes someone from being an and bad manager to being truly useful in their role, right? That's how someone becomes effective, if they're able to develop these skills or if they have these skills. Now, what I want you to do is to analyze those and ask yourself, like, hey, where am I lacking? Like, in what areas can I truly improve? And be honest. Again, nobody is seeing this. This is for you so that you can improve. So analyze where you can be better. Choose, like, let's say 2 to 3 things, because again, you're doing this every quarter. And then obviously focus on those 2 to 3 things, but narrow it down to like 2 to 3 things that you can focus on for the quarter. The third piece that you'll see here in the template is to consider the perspective of your team members, because it's one thing for you to know what you think you need to improve on, but it's even better to have a well-rounded perspective. And so if you're listening and if you're actually running effective one-on-one meetings, then you already know the things that your team members think you need to improve on. So what I want you to do is jot down those couple of things. Again, pick 2 to 3 things that your team members have given you feedback on, and list it right there in that third section right here. The fourth thing you want to do is ask yourself this really vital question, which is, how can I support those around me? Now, when I say those around you, I mean obviously your team members and your boss, as well as your coworkers, right? I want you to think about what you can do to show that you want them to be successful every day when you come in. My mentor really always like preached and hammered in his leadership principle with all of us. That was that, hey, I'm here to make you successful. That's what I come into work for every single day, is to ensure that you guys are super successful in what you're doing. And he was the vice president of the company. I mean, for him to come in every single day and really live and breathe that really meant a lot, and it made a world of a difference in our leadership team. And so for you, I think as a manager, it's even more important that you are coming into work with that exact same mindset. So I want you to stop and really think about what you can do over the next quarter to ensure that when you come into work, that you are truly there trying as hard as you possibly can to make those around you as successful as possible. Now, the fifth piece is bringing it all together by jotting down exactly how you're going to improve in these areas. So are you going to go to conferences? Are you going to invest in training? Are you going to get a coach or a mentor? Are you going to buy books? Like, what specifically are you going to do to actually improve in these areas that you've just jotted down? Because again, there's a big difference in knowing you need to improve something and actually doing it. So this forces you to do that, forces you to actually take action in improving yourself rather than just knowing, hey, I need to improve in this area. Now, I've jotted down for you here in the template this 1-sentence structure that I want you to follow, because this is really, really helpful. This is what I did for myself too. So you'll see here in this template, I've already created you a sentence structure that you can use. So it says, over the next 3 months, right, for the quarter, I am committed to improving and learning blank. So in there, you would want to put specifically what the competencies are or what are the skills or whatnot that you want to improve on. And then it goes on by saying by doing the following, right? So this right here, this section is where you would want to put specifically the hows, what you're going to do specifically. And then it concludes by saying, I will measure my progress towards my improvement on, whatever the date is, because as we know, goals need to be specific and measurable in order for us to obviously achieve them. And so creating a personal leadership development plan for yourself is really and truly no different. So you want to make sure that it's as specific as possible, and of course that it's measurable. So the last piece of the leadership development template is simply like this risk section right here, you'll see, and that's just you calling out the risks associated with not doing the work. For me, I'm the type of person that likes to analyze the risk and everything because I think that's important for critical thinking and decision making, hands down. If I want to make wise decisions, I better be thinking through the risks. And a really important question that you can ask yourself is like, what's the downside? You see, I think oftentimes when it comes to us achieving our goals, because it's such a lofty goal or something that we really strive to achieve, we oftentimes forget to think about the risks associated with not achieving that goal, which doesn't hold us accountable to what we say we're going to do. So for example, as a manager, if you don't take the time to do the things that you need to do in order to develop yourself or in order to be better, you might get fired, you might get demoted, you risk, never moving past the position that you're currently at. Your manager might be, looking at you side-eyed thinking like this person is just simply not up to the task. Or, your team might be a mess. You might be stressed all the time. Like there's a myriad of risks associated with not doing this work. And so the whole point of calling it out right off the bat is so that, every time that you feel kind of lazy or you don't feel like, oh, I don't want to do this work, then you can look at that and realize what's at stake. Because I think sometimes we don't realize what's at stake if we don't do certain things, right? So if you look at your development plan and you're like, oh crap, if I don't do this, this is what's at stake, then it puts your butt in gear to do what you know you need to do. Now, here's what I suggest when it comes to filling out your leadership development plan. I want to suggest that you go back to this every quarter and just reassess and readjust, because if you're doing it right and if you're holding yourself accountable to what you say you're going to do, then you're going to have adjustments to make, right? The competencies are going to be different if you're doing it right. So make sure that you have like a calendar appointment with yourself where you're going back to it and going, oh, I've gotten better in this area, but now this area is something I need to get better at. So I'm going to, like I said, put the link to this template, this one-page template for you in the description box below, because I promise you doing this work is so satisfying if you do it right anyways. And, if you're that type of person that truly aspires to be the best leader that you can be, like if being adequate is not good enough for you, then I highly suggest that you check out the details of my new Manager Accelerator program, because the Accelerator program is for people who want to excel in what they're doing. Like those are the people that come to me, that apply and come to me and that are successful. They have a desire to be excellent in what they do, right? Like I don't tend to attract people that just don't care. So if you truly care about being better than adequate, then definitely check out the details of the new Manager Accelerator, which I will put in the description box below for you. All right, so that is pretty much it, guys, in terms of, creating your own personal leadership development plan. I hope that you found this video to be enjoyable and valuable. And if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any other pieces of fantastic content that I share on the platform every single Tuesday. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week. Do not forget to keep smiling, and I'll see you in the next one.